The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our trash elite Rob and a guy from Ohio, DG, Kitty Holbrook, Drake Starstorm, Passion Killer 711, and Destrucity KTL. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
That's me.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today, we are performing mail fraud, stealing questions sent into a more popular podcast, the AEW Games Podcast, featuring Evil Uno and the Chugs, better known as Adam Cole. But before we get into that, I believe a light round of What's Crumping.
Okay, yeah. A little mini crump.
Little mini crump.
If you will.
What have you been up to, my friend?
Well, we've been watching the Fallout series. Expect more details on that in its own separate podcast.
Perhaps.
The short answer, I'm eating good in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen.
The Fallout Season 2 takes place entirely inside an Applebee's. I got back into Stardew Valley. I beat through what was in the original game for the most part. Didn't really do much desert stuff. And then the dude released 90 patches. I've never seen most of that stuff. So I got a little house. A little Krobus lives with me. I give him void mayonnaise every day for him to half eat and half rub on his body.
That's good.
Yeah, Krobus, for your information, is a shadow creature.
Well, that's good.
He used to live in the sewers until I made friends with him enough that he moved part of the sewer to my home.
Well, that's good.
Yes. So,
one moment, we're going to resurrect an old meme.
No.
Crack a beer for the working man.
Okay, that's a good reason to crack a beer.
This is sparkling water. I do not drink beer on the regular.
I can't remember the last time I had a beer.
Would have been 5 years ago minimum, I think.
Well, okay, if you count like those wine cooler sort of things.
I don't.
That's so no, it's been a long, I might have been a teenager. The statute of limitations on that expired a long time ago. Yeah, so we had household issues, so we haven't really been into a lot of fun stuff otherwise. But that has been the long and short of it. Hey, let's steal some mail. I have altered these questions a little bit to fit our show instead of the AEW Games Podcast.
Questions have been altered to protect the guilty. Let's get into some theft.
I do also credit the original askers because that just seems fair. So we're starting with one from Beautiful Mo. What to you are the best looking games of all time when you consider art style and design and not necessarily just realistic graphics?
Oh, that's an interesting question because it's not one I have a whole lot of opinions on. There are definitely games that I consider very pretty, but it's not necessarily something I think a lot about. Do you have an answer that you've already thought of?
I originally wrote these questions down months ago, so no. Probably at that time I thought about it and had an answer, but now I will say that I feel like pixel art holds up so much better than polygons in most scenarios. I have a deep and abiding disdain for N64 and PlayStation 1. It's mostly early PlayStation 1 era graphics. The Xbox came late enough that it avoids the worst of this, but then again, I can look at Oblivion. So, yeah, I guess I'd have to say pixel art stuff. If you want to get really technical, I think the Octopath Traveler games, as much as I don't like their gameplay loop, their story content, it's not that it's bad, it's just tedious. But they take pixel art and elevate it with lighting engines and depth of field and stuff like that. Otherwise, I can't think of a game off the top of my head where the art style just blew me away. I know a lot of people are oh, Kami, everything's a paintbrush, and
And that's true, but
yeah.
It's not something I emotionally connect with. I'll put it like that.
I guess that's the thing. I guess the art style I emotionally connected the most with in my youth, in those formative years where we make those decisions, was pixel art, and I haven't seen something I like more since.
And that's totally fair. For me, it's not. I guess it's not so much is this, what is the most beautiful game? I don't know that I have a good answer for that. I remember moments of looking at a video game and going, Jesus, this is so beautiful. There's a couple good examples. Whether or not they've held up, I'm not in charge of. I can only speak to my experiences at the time as I was playing them. But like back in the day, Skyrim was a really, really beautiful game. Obviously, it hasn't. I don't think it's held up super well. But like again, that's not really something that I can speak to. It's not my area.
It's held up fine. I mean, there were some issues with the graphics in the first place, design-wise.
But I think the two games that occur to me right now, as if I had to pick the most beautiful game, would be Red Dead Redemption 2, because it is just actually visually arresting at certain points.
Yeah, they do some very cool stuff.
And I had another one in mind that has slipped my mind.
If I may, I know you use vistas from No Man's Sky and Warframe as backgrounds on your computer.
They are very pretty, but Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's not that it's realistic. I would honestly say Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't look amazingly realistic. It's very stylized. In terms of how things would look. But it's just, look, Cyberpunk 2077 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are two games that I have literally loaded up just to walk around in and experience.
It's a valid reason to say that their art style and design triumph over all. Travis writes directly into Not Our Podcast and asks, who or what was your biggest influence on your gaming habits growing up, and what influences you to pick up a game nowadays?
Well, growing up, it was availability. Did not grow up in a situation where I could have all the very many video games that I wanted. So the games I had were the ones I played. And these days, it's something that sounds interesting story-wise, or an intellectual property I'm already engaged in, or a mechanic system that sounds like it will cause the dopamine machine in my brain to go burr. Any of those three will be fine.
A very self-made attitude as far as modern gaming is for you, then.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it's not like you're following, my favorite reviewer always says this.
Oh, God, no, I wish I could do that.
Gosh, same.
The one guy whose game opinions I could somewhat trust died. So, I've been adrift since then.
Here's a fun fact you might not know. Do you guys, and you should be, care about Wizards and Whites, the tabletop role-playing game I made after Pinkertons did some shit? It's on the Patreon. One of the core factors in that is your training bonus. I chose training bonus because the initials are TB, for Total Biscuit. So
John Maine, I might not have always agreed with him, but I trusted him.
Yeah.
He was an opinion on games I could trust. Yeah. I understood his biases, and I could take his opinion, and it let me know if I was interested in a game at all. And since he died, I have been lost. There is not a YouTuber, there is not a article writer, there is not a internet personality or magazine person who I can trust.
There are people who I can trust, but their opinions are disarmingly close and yet too far from mine for me to buy a game sight unseen based on their opinions.
I want to be clear. It's not that I think those other people are lying. It's that they're so different from me. If they tell me that they like the game, that has no indication on whether or not I will. Like Dodger is great. I think she's a very, genuine person giving her honest opinions. I don't think she's scamming. It's just she's so different from me that whether or not she likes something, it has literally nothing to do with whether or not I will.
Right. Your tastes are different enough that the overlap is.
It's just not. I can't trust it.
Right. When I was but a wee possum, dangling from my mother's back, I like the initial setup was mostly like at friends' houses or whatever, or people I was stuck with. Saying they were friends is kind of an exaggeration.
Oh no, you were in school. In school, you get the friends that you were assigned by random assignment. You get the friends who are in your geographic location area.
I'm not even talking about that.
Oh no.
I'm talking about like my dad knows this guy and he happens to have a kid.
Oh, well, yeah, that happens too.
And we weren't, like, I probably saw them once and never again, or a distant cousin that I don't know if he even still exists. So that was like my introduction to a lot of stuff. The kids who lived upstairs, I would almost call them friends. When I was living in an apartment, they showed me Final Fantasy. And honestly, actually, somebody else might have showed me Final Fantasy, and then I saw it with them later. I have this fever dream. I'm sorry, you all opened Pandora's box here. I just remembered this. I've remembered it recently before, but I was reminded of it. I have memories of the NES Final Fantasy II. I've played the opening since and went, oh, I know this. I've seen this. And it was at, I think, a distant relative's house, and I only saw it briefly. Now, parts of the openings of the NES Final Fantasy II are very similar to the opening of the NES Final Fantasy I, or early parts of Final Fantasy I, but I don't remember that. I remember the one from Final Fantasy II, so I don't know if this guy somehow had an import translated cart. That doesn't make sense. I'm not even sure the dates line up. But anyway, the guys upstairs, they played Final Fantasy, and I played it on there. And really, most of what I got into, other than that, was rental. I thought the Mega Man box art looked weird, so I rented it. I thought Boy and His Blob sounded fascinating, so I rented it. I liked the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers TV show, so I rented the game. Well, like is a strong word. I watched it.
I had a family member growing up who introduced me to a lot of video game series and types of video games I love now. That was I think if any outside person could be said to have influenced me my gaming growing up, my brother-in-law.
And there are certain individuals, yourself included, over the years since who have been like, "Hey, check this game out," and I went, "Okay." But that's the minority. It's mostly just been me. And then for a while, I did have internet people like TB, like Dodger, so on and so forth, who would say, "Oh, here's a cool game." And I went, "You're right, that game does look cool." And then I would play it, and then I would have my own opinion. These days, I will just shovel whatever random shit happens across my desk into my mouth and hope for the best.
You are a voracious gamer. You try so many games.
Well, so I'll keep this brief because the good God, what a voyage I've been on. Don't get old. I have been trying to rediscover my relationship with media and redefine it because I lost track of that at some point in the last, about a decade ago. And so when something comes free on Game Pass or on the Epic Store or what have you, I will usually at least grab it and then at some point later go, all right, what is this? And most of the time, stupid. But sometimes, oh, that's fun. And, you know, Donut County was one of those. I played through the whole thing in one night. It was neat. Wasn't anything to write home about, but, like, good job, guys. Otherwise, it's what you said. You know, franchises I already know and trust. You can look at a game and go, this looks like something I'd enjoy. Sometimes it's a little harder and you got to do some research, but most of the time I've been right. I really had fun, except for the last act with Baldur's Gate 3. I really had fun with Dragon Age Veilguard. Avowed looked like it was going to be a good time. Guess what it was? You know, trust your own eyes, I guess. That was a wild trip down memory lane. Thank you, Travis, for asking Chugs and Evil Uno that question that we then stole. Jet asks, what's one classic video game series you'd love to see turned into a movie and one turned into a TV series?
It's an interesting question because we are in the age where that just happens a bunch.
It does just happen.
So one classic video game series I'd love to see turned into a TV series already happened, and I feel like I would be a greedy bitch to ask for more. So at this point, I'm not even sure. I guess I'd really like to see like a good adaptation of a Tomb Raider, like a series or a movie.
Like the more recent trilogy?
Yeah, the one I like. Look, I played the original canon also. The 2013 Tomb Raider canon is my favorite timeline. I'd like that would be a fun movie, but they've made it into a movie like 3 times and it bombs every time. So maybe a series. But right now I'm already eating my big Fallout cake. I'm not gonna ask for 2 cakes. You?
When I was younger, I really wanted there to be a Final Fantasy VI movie. I actually had some specific visuals in my head of things that I thought would look cool. As like incidental, reference scenes to like, oh yeah, this monster, he was on screen for 6 seconds. That's nice. But I don't know that I'd want that today. I would rather have Final Fantasy VI remade in the vein of what Final Fantasy VII is getting now. I'd like to see something good with Mega Man. They've done Mega Man series. They aren't good. I really liked what the Archie Comics Mega Man was doing. It was friendly for all audiences. It had some compelling stuff going on. The visuals were really polished, and I think that would be a cool show or movie. I don't care either way. Otherwise, a lot of those video game series don't translate well to situations where you have no choice.
So that's the thing about adapting video games with a story. Like, as an example, I wouldn't want Red Dead Redemption 2 adapted into anything.
There's too much.
You can't do it. No. Just play the video game.
Yeah, it's
video
already there.
Game. It's the art. It is a piece of art that exists in the format it does for reasons.
And if you don't want to play the video game, watch someone else play the video game.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But it's just, you gotta... There's no other format is going to have enough time and like personal moments to make it really hit. Yeah. And for a lot of video games with story, they are just, especially more recent ones, they're just too big. They went with classic video game, and that's good because normally the stories on those are a little simpler, a little shorter. But even then,
I'm reminded of something we discussed some 15, 20 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah. You'd have to get a different main character now because of how Hollywood has changed, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. But back then, we talked about how awesome it would be to have a mostly silent Castlevania film starring Jason Momoa off of the original Castlevania, and it is just him.
Jason would still do it.
Yeah, I just don't think he fits anymore. He's a different guy.
Yeah.
He's not the guy who did Conan. He's the guy who did Minecraft. And I respect both. It's just different. Most of the characters he plays are swaggering dickheads these days, which I love.
Yeah, good for him.
I want the strong, silent type to be Simon Belmont and just go through all of the shit in the movie rendered realistically.
That's a great... You know what? That gives me another example. I'd like a good adaptation of Halo.
That might be fun.
Can I have one of those that doesn't suck? That would be dope.
All right, we move on to Owen, who asks, what is the first Souls-like game I should play as someone completely new to the genre? Do you have a preferred order in which I should play them?
Yes, it's Dark Souls 1 is the one you should play first, because you won't be able to go back. And I do have a preferred order in which you should play them. You should play Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, and then Elden Ring.
Sometimes when I write these questions down, I think of the exact answer he's going to give, and despite it having been months, I remember.
Right. What's your lesser answer?
I think playing the original... I mean, once you're done with the original series, do whatever you want. I don't, as far as Lies of P and Another Crab's Treasure and stuff like that goes, once you've finished the initial homework, you're free. Just make your own decisions. Absolutely start with Dark Souls 1. I think Demon Souls, even the remake, remaster, whatever it's called, is too dense.
It doesn't have the right vibe. Dark Souls 1 has the Dark Souls vibe, and you won't be able to go back.
It's not even vibe. It's that it is all of its hidden subsystems that we know about now because of internet, but all of its hidden subsystems are so precariously balanced that it's complicated. Honestly, I would say Demon Souls is optional. Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, because you won't go back and play it after you play Dark Souls 3.
I didn't. I tried it and went, this is bad.
It's so different. It's way closer to like a Legend of Zelda.
I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, it's different, but I think it's worth playing. There's some good stuff in there if you can stomach the bad stuff, which the game has a wealth of. There are some really good, especially the DLC is really solid. Dark Souls 3, and then I would do Bloodborne before you do Elden Ring.
If you're going to do Bloodborne and all, you got to do it before Elden Ring.
I don't think you have to. I just would.
I'm not going to, because I already played Elden Ring, and I don't play the PlayStation a lot.
Fair enough. Hanzo writes in, taking a break from Overwatch, to ask, according to your Steam, well, we don't have access to his Steam. Hanzo, I'm going to leave your question on there. Dwayne asks, how important is it for a game to have a great box or cover art? Have you ever been influenced to purchase or not purchase a game based on box art alone? We'll cover Hanzo's question another time.
Yeah. Hanzo's question is very detailed.
Yes, and I'd love to get into it. We have to pre-set up for that.
So, for me, the answer is not and no. You?
Well, I believe I said earlier, yes. And it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be eye-catching. One of my favorite box art is, oh God, the name of the game is escaping me. The one with the old man on it, where he's playing the banjo. And it's a shoot 'em up. I hate shoot 'em ups. Phalanx, I think. Super Nintendo. It's just an old dude playing a banjo, and you can kind of see a starship in the background if you're not distracted by the old man playing a banjo.
As you clearly were.
Compelling.
But like I've never. It's not that I grew up in an era post box art. I obviously didn't. Digital download wasn't really a thing till I was fully an adult for many years.
Well, and even then, they have cards. You know, they have a visual.
They have little like thumbnails, as it were. But I just never cared about that. There was exactly one game that I was ever swayed into buying by the cover art. And if you want to know more about that game, check out the episode of Violent Profiles on the game Biofreaks.
Yeah, check out that episode. There are a lot of... I did a lot of renting, so a lot of my pickups were based on the box art, or at least the initial pull, and then I'd flip it over and be like, what is this? Oh, okay, cool. I don't know. I spent hours just wandering around video stores. There's probably a more significant portion of my life dedicated to looking at shelves full of video game boxes than most people. Shady P enters the chat and says, what are your thoughts on disc versus discless consoles? And when was the last time you bought a physical disc game?
I don't care, and many years ago.
I do care for backward compatibility reasons. I don't know that I would buy a discless console unless I had no other choice. I just want to be able to play my old games, is how I feel about it.
And that's fair. For me, the old console still exists, so long as I still own that.
Well, we don't tend to keep those.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I will say that if we reached a point where there was no disc drive available on the new generation, I would keep the old generation for that exact reason.
Yes, you are absolutely... I agree with that entirely.
It's like keeping a VHS player around just because you have a bunch of things you want to watch on VHS.
Back in the day, they called those VCRs. I'm not mocking you. That is the common term for them these days.
I don't expect people to know.
It's just interesting how language changes over time. Last time I bought a physical disc game was my girlfriend technically bought me Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remakey guys. Thank you, Shady P, for asking Chugs and Evil Uno that question for us to steal. I see you're poking around on your Steam on your phone. Do you want us to try to answer Hanzo's question?
I'm going to see if I can get that information. If not, that's fine.
I'll stall, and we'll answer...
No, you just go with more questions. I can do that.
Yeah. Well, answer Maynard's question. That's what I'm stalling with. Content. He asks, what is your favorite sleepover gaming memory?
When I was in elementary school, I had a sleepover with one of my very few friends as a child. And we played WWF Attitude. And we played that we played that for half the night, and we spent the other half the night watching Dragon Ball Z. It was dope.
What counts as a sleepover?
You slept at a house that was not yours.
Okay. What if I was hosting the sleepover?
That's fine too.
Is there an age limit?
Does well, it doesn't say so.
Okay. So not long after you and I met, we played Soul Calibur and Marvel Ultimate Alliance into the wee hours of the morning several times. I don't have childhood friends whose memories are not tainted. So I don't have fun sleepover memories. I didn't do a lot of sleepovers anyhow.
I think that was the maybe last or second to last time I ever did one.
I did a few, but they were usually with non-gaming family members, like a cousin or pretty much just cousins that were my age anyway.
I can get that information.
Well, let's rock and roll, Hanzo. According to your Steam, what are your top 5 games sorted by playtime, and how many hours did you dedicate to each? I'll pull that up while you talk.
All right. So sorted by playtime. We have at the top Marvel Heroes Omega with 185 hours on record. At the second place, I'm just going to go through my top 5. We have Marvel Rivals at 162 hours on record. I played a lot more Marvel Rivals than I thought I had. Maybe I left it on? I don't know. It feels wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that's right, but I guess so. Vampire Survivors at 151 hours. Number 4 is Pathfinder Kingmaker at 148 hours. And that was number 4, actually. Excuse me. Number 5 is actually Sid Meier's Civilization 5 at 137 hours. This is, I don't know how accurate this is, because the Elder Scrolls Skyrim is listed as 136 hours, because I played this for like 100 plus hours on PC and several hundred hours on console. So I feel like that should be higher, but according to Steam, that's my top 5.
Which one did you feel should be higher? I'm sorry?
Skyrim, because I also played a bunch of it on console.
Oh, well, gosh. Yeah. My number 5 game.
We're going reverse for you.
I'm going to go reverse. My number 5 game is a game I affectionately used to call Anime Titty Clicker. It was a rough time during my life. I thought the art and characters were cute, and also I'm an adult. I have 186.2 hours on record. It is one of the very few clicker games I've ever been into. I'm not usually a fan of those. But I just like the cute characters, and I like the studio doing it. I actually auditioned for one of their other games. It didn't go through, but I tried. It's that many because I often left it on overnight to auto-click. So otherwise it would be below things like Sid Meier's Civ 6 and Supermarket Simulator. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the number 4 game is Journey of Wrestling. Gosh, I wonder why. Above that, it's with 190.6 hours. Above that is Sid Meier's Civilization 5 at 251.6 hours. You and I played Civ 5 a lot together.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. Probably a recent shakeup, Stardew Valley, 279.6 hours. It was probably just below Civilization before. And number 1, with a bullet, I don't think anything's ever going to unseat it. Marvel Heroes Omega, 636.8 hours.
See, I find it surprising that you played that so much more than me, because we played it together almost all the time.
You fell off after they changed the movement powers. You really didn't like it after that, and I was still playing. And it was one of those games where it did the dopamine machine for me. I don't usually get that, but it was a drip. It was a steady drip. It was a reliable drip, and it was so fun to patrol Midtown. And
I don't think I have anything that's that. But I think if we combined my console and PC playtime for Dark Souls 3 and Skyrim, it'd probably be about where your other top ones are.
I might have more hours in Animal Crossing, New Horizons.
You quite certainly do. I've seen how you play Animal Crossing, and you've been playing it since the pandemic.
Well, I took several years of break.
Quite certainly have more hours on Animal Crossing.
So thank you for the question, Hanzo. I'm glad we got back to it on this show.
I thought I could access that.
You did. You figured it out. One last question. This one is from Steven. What would you say was your childhood video game anthem? We did a podcast a number of years ago covering music we loved from video games throughout every year, I believe. It's a two-parter. You can go find it.
I don't know that my answers have changed much since then. So
I don't know why it would.
Do we have time for another question?
Oh, well, I suppose if you want to say that's the answer to that question, yeah. We'll turn that question into an ad. Thanks, Steven. Go check out that podcast.
We literally did. We spent like an hour answering this, and we made like a playlist.
Yep. Oh, yeah, there is a playlist. I think it's public. You should be able to search it. It might be linked or something like that. But then you can listen to all the songs and just enjoy it. So, yeah, we will actually end on Tom C. What game mechanics or features do you think are currently underused but have the potential to be game changers in the future?
The Nemesis system.
That's what I figured you were going to say.
It's almost peak corpo bullshit that it's not currently utilized as much as it should be. It is genuinely one of the best parts of a pretty good game, and it is. Once it is free, once it's allowed to run free and fly free, I think it actually will help a lot of games feel more robust.
That feels like the right answer. Never mind my opinion. I think there's a lot of really small quality of life stuff that other games don't think to use.
You know what? A good quality of life example. I think as a society, we've reached the point where free respecs, it can just be a thing that RPGs have.
Yeah.
Like, that can just be a thing, guys. It's not gonna, I promise you, you're not gonna be run out of game designers town for just letting people have fun.
Basically. And it's stuff like that.
Experiment and, like, not accidentally lock themselves into a build they hate and have to restart the game, which for a lot of gamers will just mean stop playing your game forever.
Sure. Here's one that's always going to be the case. Skippable cutscenes. Especially if you've already seen it once.
I mean, that's pretty fully integrated, isn't it? What games don't have skippable cutscenes?
So many.
This is genuinely surprising. I can't think of a game I've played in the last 10 years that doesn't have a button to skip cutscenes.
I take you back to what I was saying about playing a bunch of Game Pass stuff. A lot of folks don't seem to think that you need to be able to skip their cutscenes, and I understand that on the first pass, there's probably some important stuff there, but
I should be allowed to Meister Jaeger my way through a game and not know what's going on.
Nobody gets that reference.